Welcome back to Life of the Germ. I'm your host, Jeremy, and we're back with another episode. Um, the week, man. Um, I went back for a wedding in my hometown in Oshkosh. I think I mentioned that the last episode. It was good. It sucked. I was like really tired the whole weekend for some odd reason. I don't know if it was like allergy related or I don't know. Like it wasn't flight related. The flight was like 2 hours. It almost felt like I was just trying to like detox from this whole summer of just like kind of like go go go. I'm not really sure, but still get to catch up with some people and obviously had a good time at the wedding, getting to see everyone. So shout out if you're at the wedding and we got to talk. You a real one. Glad we got to catch up and chop it up. I'll be back in Thanksgiving, so it's like not. It's not like it's like so long. It's like a couple months. So, yeah, it was good. And um, other than that, though, man, I picked up some new running shoes. Basically, like these running shoes, they they look brand new, right? Like I mean, the bottoms maybe you can tell a little bit, but like it's so crazy because you run in these though, because these are the ones I've mainly trained on like this whole time, like June through August or June through September, and there's just nothing left. Like every step is just pain. Like it's just nothing. So I really like those shoes. So I just went ahead and got another pair. And when you run like I don't know 40, 50 miles a week, running shoes are really only good for like 300 miles, and you just burn through shoes so fast. And um, so I'm like halfway through my mileage this week, and I I finished my run this morning. My feet just ached, you know. So I was like, okay. After work today, I like went home or went to the store and like picked up a new pair, which I'm hoping tomorrow will like like s- save my feet, and as a result, like hopefully like save my joints a little bit from like just the impact. But yeah, I mean, I got like probably I don't know. What do we got? Like pretty much all of September, all of October. So I got around 8 weeks till the marathon. I'm still not really thinking about it much. I'm kind of like nervous. We're going to see how it goes. I don't know. It's like start of November is the marathon. So we'll see. It's been a huge build up to get to this point. So, I mean, really have left to do is just run the race and kind of just see how our legs hold up and see what pans out. But um, yeah, other than that, I'm helping my buddy move this weekend. I'm pretty excited to see them and see some of the homies and catch up. So that should be good. But I think getting into the wisdom of the week, when I was back home, this got me thinking a little bit, and I think it I think I've heard it a lot. Honestly, the past couple of years since I've moved out here, and I think it's important to share. So just getting into it right away, I think, you know, so I kind of I did It's Greenest because I kind of wanted to like leave the title a little vague, not exactly clickbait, but make you guys have to like work for it and wonder at least a little bit what I was talking about. And um, it gets at this idea, um, the quote of like the grass is greener, the grass seems greener on the other side, and I think it's actually a very good point. I don't know if it's the grass the grass is always greener on the other side. I'm pretty sure what it is. Which or is it always seems greener on the other side? Now I want to look it up. Hold on. You guys probably know and are just like this guy's an actual idiot, but these are very subtle differences because I'm either refuting the quote or actually like accepting it. The grass is greener on the other side. Okay, I mean, part of the quote is saying that in reality, that's not actually the case, and I would agree. Like, I've had people recently tell me like the grass is greenest where you water it, blah blah blah. I think that one's a little cliche myself, but I think my take on the quote is that the grass is greenest right now. And there isn't there is this thing where when I was back home and I was with my high school friends who I haven't seen in a really long time, and I got to thinking like, man, it must be so nice to be in the city and like you have I've just gone through so many years with these people, and like to have all those people at your fingertips and people that like know what you've been through, and like they know you like through and through, right? And to have that is so cool. And I'm here to say, like, if you're in a situation like that, do not take that for granted, because that is so sick. And like, while I have like a lot of really good connections out here, I think what I'm starting to realize is that making friends as an adult is just like, especially outside of college, it's just a very different type of situation. Like, people have partners that are like they're becoming serious, maybe considering marriage, stuff like that. People already have friends like mine, right? That like you've spent years with and you have years of history with, right? So maybe people aren't even really looking or trying to make friends. And then it's just like this aspect of like becoming an adult where you're like, you kind of know what you want, and you kind of know like the qualities and traits that like make a friend for you. And it's like, it really is hard to find someone that will be willing to like put in the effort, because a friendship is, to me, is not just like some shoddy relationship, right? I mean, it depends on what you're looking for, but for me, I like hold my friends to a very high standard, and like because I think I've grown up with such good friends, right? And like we really like care for each other, we look out for each other, like we think about each other, and it's like these are very basic things to me that I don't think a lot of other people have. And um so just like feeling that energy was just so cool. And like um I'm like, part of me was like, grass is greener on the other side. Like I was wishing that I was back there, right? And like what it would be like if I had a job in Oshkosh and I was just working, and every weekend I get to see them. But then I got to thinking too, okay, hold on. But then I remembered that the big reason why I left my hometown was because there's literally nothing to do. And like I'm not even exaggerating. Everyone that's like from my hometown knows this, but for people that are watching that don't know my hometown, the county that my town sits in is I'm not exaggerating, the drunkest county in the nation. Like, no joke. And that's what people do. And it's like, I'm out here, and I honestly, I think the last drink I had was, I mean, I guess I drank for the wedding, but like, honestly, I had 3 drinks. I sobered up, and I'm like, I'm tired. I'm sick of this. Like, I was bored. I didn't drink the rest of the night. And I was just like, this isn't that fun. Like, you catch a buzz and then it wears off, and you're like, okay, it's like, it's just not that fun. And not saying that's all there is to do, but besides that, it's like there's just not a lot of things to do. Like here, even minus the mountains, like, well, maybe not minus the mountains. Like all of my life here kind of revolves around that, like snowboarding, hiking, climbing, like just very active things that just aren't very common where I'm from, right? And if they are, it's like not as fun because it's like flat, you're in the country, there just like isn't a lot to do, So like I was like, okay, wait, so I have the people there, but the lifestyle is not matching. Okay. And then here it's like I don't have all those people, right? But I have the lifestyle. And it's like I'm like, I just feel like I was like sitting on the plane going home, and I'm like obviously a little sad that I'm like have to go back and like, not only my job, but then like all the people I care about are like, and that like really give a crap about me are like so far away, and like all the day ones, um and then I was like, I came to the conclusion on the plane that I was, and it kind of was bittersweet, but I think it made me end the trip on a positive note. In that, like, as I was flying and, heading back, also, like, I got row one on the flight. That was sick. Just randomly assigned row one. So I got, like, a ton of leg room. Was, like, second off the plane, but that's regardless. But what I concluded was that wherever you are at in your life, just appreciate it. No matter, like, how shitty it seems, no matter how awesome it seems, like, just always like appreciate where you are right now, because there's going to be aspects, as with anything, I think, that even like really dark stuff that I don't really like. I'm like, even the stuff I'm like, I hope I never, have to relive that again. It's still like a lot of that dark stuff I learned a lot of really, really valuable lessons from. And while yeah, I'm not like how I am with high school with those, where I'm like, oh, I just want to go back for a week, and to like feel how I felt. Like, no, I felt terrible during those times, right? Like, not high school, I'm saying like these like dark times that I like am referencing. But like at the end of the day, like, and I think this mindset kind of fails when you're going through really, really hard stuff like that. But when you're living through times where you're like, oh man, if I just like had this, I'd be happy. And I think that's the biggest thing, is that, and I feel like this is a pretty common lesson that I see on YouTube, but it's always like, oh, when I get to this next stage in my career, I'll be happy. When I get to this, I'll be happy. When I get to this, I'll be happy. It's like, no, like you can be happy right now. Like, you might not, especially if you're like me, like early 20s, like you might not have a lot of money, like you might not have this, you might not have that, but there's like advantages, right? That are so, I feel like it's easy to see the negative when you're living in the situation. But if you think about it from, say if you're 50, what is that 50-year-old going to look at a 23-year-old's life or 24-year-old's life and think is so cool, right? You're at like literally the peak of your life. Like, I'm going to run 50 miles this week and my legs are like, oh, like they're like a little fatigued. And then I'm able to go to work and like stimulate my mind for 8 hours a day and then get home and record this. Like, even 10 years from now, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do all that. Like, I don't know if that's going to be a reality, right? Like that is just an absurd amount of stuff that goes on in my life. And because I'm like, I have all this energy and I'm young, like I'm able to do that. But it's so hard to see that like right now. And there's a lot of other things too. Like, in your younger 20s usually comes with a lot more freedom. Like, I myself am definitely like a prime example, like being single. Like, I can do whatever I want whenever I want, like, and like you get married, you have kids, like that's not a reality any longer, right? This is a weird way to look at it, but I'm renting a place, right? I don't have this whole big, huge, like, what's the word for it? Asset. Like, I don't have these huge assets where like I have to take care of. I was actually talking to someone in my program about this, and I thought it was really cool. He was like born and grew up in Africa, and he said that like what he's noticed from like spending some time in Europe and then like moving to the States is that he found that like the more possessions you have, the more you have responsibility that you have to fulfill for those possessions. So like a house, for example, a house, even compared to a car, there's so much more upkeep for a house, partially because it's so much more expensive, and because it's so much more expensive, you care about it a lot more because you've invested a lot of money into that, right? And what he found it like is that like when people don't have a lot of stuff, like there isn't a lot of stress, right? And I find that it is true. And I think this even goes for intangible things like friendships, right? Like, say you have 20 friends, it's a different kind of stress than you being like, oh, I got to make sure my car doesn't get dinged up because it's like 20 grand, and if I get one little ding, I'm going to freak out and it's all going to be like, it's different than, oh my God, like, my friend just got into a car accident or something. Like, you're stressed, but like, it's a different kind of stress because it just feels more genuine because it's like, it's actually, you're caring for like a human being instead of this like inanimate object that doesn't have a soul. Like it's a man-made product that doesn't really matter, right? Like, and I ultimately think that is the more fulfilling stuff. It's like, don't have a lot of stuff and like really just be focused on like, what position am I in right now that at this point in my life, I know I'm never going to be able to get again. Or like, I'm probably like just knowing what like you probably, like for me, a good example is that like, I love Denver, but I'm not going to spend the rest of my life here. Right. And I know that, and I know that I don't know. Like, I'm not like mountains. I don't think are like an absolute deal breaker for me. Like, I think it's sick that there's mountains, but I just I don't really feel that that's a deal breaker. Right. So it's like, given that the grass is greenest right now, I have these mountains. Let's go and like explore them and check them out. Like you have this job that is an end game. Like, okay, let's like explore it. Let's like explore this job and like, what is like the maximum I can get out of this job, right? How can I milk it for not even every like dollar, but like every sort of like skill you can acquire, like what can you learn? What are the connections you can make? Like that is the stuff that matters. And like that, like just make sure right now is the greenest time of your life, right? Like there's no, sure, like certain aspects of your life will be greener, right? But what you realize is that it's all a trade-off, and to me, what I found is I don't know. It depends how bad it is, I guess. But like in terms of me being in my hometown or me being out here, like I would say for me, it balances out. Like, and maybe when I'm 30, like I'll look at this and be like, you dummy. Like it definitely wasn't balanced at all. Like, like I realized that like, I care about like my connections and people a lot more and like those people back home, but for now it's like, right now I care about like exploring the world and like understanding how the world works and like just going on adventures, and like out in Denver I'm able to accomplish that. So like to me, yeah, it sucks that like all my really really good friends aren't out here, but like at the same time, like that's the trade-off I had to make to like A, advance my career, and then B, like get out and explore something new and like chase an adventure, right? So yeah, I would say just keep that in mind. Like really, and I think really it just comes down to gratitude. Like what are things now that you have that in 10 years you're not going to be able to have? Like think about that, and after you've thought about it, then really understand how like privileged you are to be like living in this moment right now, and like take advantage of those things that you can do right now. So that's wisdom of the week. Dude, it's so funny. I like fired up my computer, and whenever I download these videos before I post them, like it saves to my desktop, so it pops up as a little like icon on my desktop. Dude, like half my screen is just like Life of the Germ videos, and that's one thing that I was like, this is so cool. Like to like go back and see. I think I have like I want to say I think 40 videos now on my YouTube channel. Like it's just crazy to see like how if you just do a little bit like every week, every day, it can really just like add up over time. And I'm like, to see that, see the product, I'm like, dang, like we've been doing this for a minute. So hope you guys are you know enjoy this one and are tapped in. And dude, we just hit 50 subs. I'm ecstatic about that. Like to get to 50 is crazy. So, super hyped about that. But um, that's it's greener right now. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll catch you in the next one.